There it is.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly DLC. I'm one of your hosts, Karosh, joined always by my co-host, Daniel Vargas.
Hello.
Daniel J.
Hola.
If you're not familiar with what we do, we come to you every week through podcasting services of your choice. We sit around this table. We have some fun dialogue about nerdy topics. We each come to the table with a topic. We've been changing it up lately, but we're going back to our roots.
Yeah.
Trying to have a fun, lively
Shitty
conversation.
table?
Yeah. Leaves room for improvement.
Makes a lot of
chairs.
noise.
Yeah. But
Chitty chair.
yeah, that's what we do. We hope you enjoy. It's episode, 63 now?
9? What?
3 is divisible by, or
9.
9 is divisible by 3? It's coming.
The countdown.
So how have you guys been?
Good,
Talk to
good.
me.
Stop streaming.
Still holding strong?
2
on that?
weeks.
2 weeks. How does
Yeah,
it feel?
I
Different?
don't know. It feels better. I feel free. It was like a job, like a chore, man. I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta do it. I gotta do what I got to do. I think I'm gonna spend that time doing other stuff. I'm gonna start reading.
Cool.
Maybe create my own franchise, create a comic book, maybe write a book. You never know.
You never know.
Never know.
Never know.
Other than that, what did I watch over the weekend? Quiet Place.
Oh, you saw the movie.
I vouched it. The problem is, so I've been
There's already
having
problems with it.
I've been having these issues with like migraine, and it was before that. It was already occurring. So during watching the movie, I had the pain, I had the migraines, and then there was like a whole family like 2 chairs over,
Okay.
and they were, I don't know if they were using this as like a defense mechanism against the scare tactics, but they were laughing. They were like cracking jokes like to themselves, but then the laughter is what broke over the silence.
Well, I mean, it's a quiet movie.
Yeah,
So
and I was like, man, like, so most of my head was like angry at them, and I don't know. I don't
It's a
feel like
bummer.
I enjoyed the movie as well as I normally would have.
Anything else? Any games?
I mean, Monster Hunter.
You got some time in?
Got some time in last night. I did like 2 successful missions, I guess you can call it.
Okay.
I mean, I played obviously more than 2 missions because you can't do it in 2 missions, but I successfully did it twice.
So what you're referring to is the new content that they just announced. Kuvlar. Taroth.
Taroth.
Gold member.
It's so sick, dude. At first, I thought it was just like yellowish scales, and then as you're playing, you're like, this is fucking gold. This is real fucking gold. Like, holy shit, this is really cool.
The way I understand it is you get into the server, which can hold up to 16 people, but you still get in the four people hunts, and you'll do your hunt and do so much damage or whatever, and then you either, if no one else is in the lobby, you just keep redoing it until you break him,
Yeah.
or complete the quest, which is break its horns. Or if other people are in the hub too, their progress also contributes to the same net damage. Is that correct?
I don't know. I mean, so the thing is, like, when I first did it, I was like, I don't even know how to find this guy. And then I did a regular mission. I found like a piece on the ground. I got it. And then the guild master, what's his name? The
main dude with
the
the
giant fleet master,
for the first.
Yeah, the fleet of the first, or first of the fleet. He's there in front, and he like huge cutscene when you talk to him after this is found, and then after that, it's like it tells me like someone in the gathering hall started this mission. I was like, oh shit, and I ran to the gathering hall. I was like, where the fuck is it? I don't see it. And finally, like I went to the right spot, and I see at the very bottom like giant ass words like this guy's name. I'm like, oh, I see it now.
Okay.
And I hop in, and it's like create a quest, join a quest. I hit join a quest, and there was like 2. And so I joined the first one, and we wrecked him like the first time. We got to level 6, or like not level 6 like stage wide, because there's different stages too as you're doing it. But I got level 6 of like whatever, like finding clues or whatever, everything. And then one of the once it kicked us out, we failed, by the way, too. We got to level 6 and we failed, like we triple carded. Once we went out, some guy created the same one on that level 6, and I hopped right into that one as well. And then that one we did it, and I got like some sick ass gear. Like it's a really nice gear.
Nice.
It's like all end game gear already. Like you don't have to worry about like leveling it up or anything,
or like forging anything.
Yeah, it's like you it appraises it for free. The second time I did it, I sold everything on accident. I was like, all right, cool, next screen. And it was like, do you want to do this? Yes. And I was like, oh shit, I just sold everything. supposed to like click on everything on its own.
Oh.
And I feel like I went to the bottom of the box and I wasn't even paying attention.
Oh, you'll probably be doing a lot more. It's till like early May.
Yeah.
So the thing for me was it was the last day of the spring event, or not the spring event. Yeah, it was the last.
It is.
And it was the first day I had logged in during any of the spring event. I was like, shit, when's the Mega Man thing go away? And it was like today. So I was like, I'm doing the Mega Man thing.
I still have one more fucking ticket. Shit.
It'll come back because they said that during the spring event, all old
Right.
events came back
Nice.
during
Okay.
it. So I'm sure they'll do more like summer event, fall
Okay.
event, whatever. But I did miss out on that rocket sword, great sword.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too. I never found like.
It's
Got
like
Got 'em.
a simple quest you do. It's
Oh.
crazy, but you just got to do it to get it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have time. It's too late. But I am excited to do the siege thing. It's fun, and the other thing that I like is we talked about this as like things that they can introduce or how they're going to introduce. Relic weapons are back,
Yep.
but in a like a modified form.
That's exactly so.
Which is what you're getting.
Yeah,
right?
when you finally like successfully like stop this guy,
Mhm.
you get a ton of rewards at the end. Like it's the same screen where you go to join the quest.
Yeah.
At the very bottom it says collect your rewards.
Oh, okay.
And like it's just a bunch of stuff. You hit the bottom button and it appraises everything. Then you can physically look at everything, and then that's when I actually sold it. The second time, the first time though, I went like I selected everything, and then the next screen it shows you the weapons that you received,
Oh, okay.
and those are the like essentially the relic weapons.
Yeah, and there's like a spreadsheet on Reddit of like every variation because before it just was randomized completely. Now it's still randomized from what I understand, but if you have a certain weapon of a certain type, the damage outputs on it will match someone who got that same weapon of that type of that name. And so there is a static value for certain things. It's not like completely randomized, but
Yeah.
it is enough of a variety to be like, here's the Baroth gold version sword, so on and so forth. I don't know, it's cool. Some old, some new.
Yeah, so I played that, and
wanna do
I
some
I
more.
did it twice before I called it a night, and it was like probably like an hour worth
Okay.
of playing. I don't know if I got a good group or if that was like because I don't think some people completed it.
Well, once you leave a server, your level resets.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
Okay.
if you go to a new server and join up with friends and like join their game, you have to go wherever
Okay.
they're at, or
So-
like you're all at that part.
When I was playing, like it does a kind of like an XP bar, like
Yeah,
the way the
that.
Trailblazers are like the when you get friendship with like the cats,
Mhm.
it leveled up like that, and like I got to level 15, and every time it levels up, it says like your reward quality increased.
Mhm.
So I got up to 15. I think that only you affect it yourself.
Okay.
There is something that the group does, but I never really paid attention to that. I was just like trying to
We'll
get as
figure it
much
out.
as I could to get before I called it a night.
Cool.
How does he fight like?
Fight night. No. Pretty much like Moth Guran, or what's his name? Moran,
Ganon?
Doran. No. Like the giant elder dragon, the one in the sand.
Oh, Jen Moore.
Wait,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. He just walks like. I mean, there's a
He looks like the size of like Xeno'jiva.
no. He's smaller.
I compared
Tail-wise?
it like if you just take away the wings.
Yeah, because
It's
he
like
has
at
like
the
a long ass
torso.
tail.
Yeah.
But a lot of the tail isn't really his. Like it's like a mantle or something
Okay.
almost. But what is it? What was I
Jen
trying to say?
Moore?
Yeah, so there's a how when you after you do the whole boat thing, like
Right.
he's just walking
Yeah.
towards the thing.
Yeah.
That's like the beginning part of the mission.
Okay.
Then you get to like a big open area, and you literally like he's just like rolling over and doing different things.
Like
and you're
Royal
trying to dodge-
Luderoth style?
yeah, but really slowly. But the thing is, like, he's so huge. Like the first time, I kept getting hit. I was like, "He's in my way. I'm cool." I was like, "What the hell, dude?" And I just what I do now is I just Superman jump every fucking
Yeah,
time because like
everything.
there's nothing like
Yeah.
I can't fucking escape him. There are like bugs in certain areas, so you
okay.
can just like hide up top and then be like sucker and then jump back down.
Okay.
But I was like, ain't no bitch.
Yeah.
Superman jump.
Jang, what have you been up to?
I haven't been streaming.
Dun,
It's been a
dun,
week.
dun.
Really?
Yeah,
What's
I've been
what's the
making
reason?
YouTube, man. Like, been focusing on editing and taking notes and filming, and I'm preparing for like this grand video that's gonna be filmed in Memorial Day.
Okay.
Top secret, but I'm fucking nervous as fuck. It's really giving me like anxiety because it's out in it's like the Sirius Black. I always have this like one big video I want to make,
Uh-huh.
so it's gonna be out in public. Fuck.
The wig.
Well,
Fuck.
best,
Whoa.
of, best of luck on that. But I'm
Zing.
curious, like, are you concerned at all with your progress with streaming?
No. I mean, the same people watch. So
What do you mean? You're not streaming right now when God of War is out.
I know, right?
It's 9 o'clock already. You could be playing right now.
But
Are you
no.
are you just not streaming, or are you not? Is your game time always streaming, or do you play games when you're not streaming?
Usually game time is streamed.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah.
So if you do start playing any games, we'll probably see you on
Which sucks because God of War comes out tomorrow, and the Monster Hunter thing is there. I have to like really split the time.
Just do like an hour and a half of Monster Hunter.
No, I had to do like whatever day I had to focus on one
Yeah?
game.
I don't know. I think you split it up between us, but it's up to you.
there. So you're working on this video stuff. Anything coming up, or anything you've done?
I met Rob Reiner. And
Yeah?
it fucking pissed me off because I couldn't get his autograph because of autograph hounds, which people
Ah.
who flip
Yeah.
autographs. But I looked at his eyes. He looked into my eyes and he knew. And he walked away. I was just like, bro, I'm a fan, dude. I'm not going to sell this. That sucked. But funny dude.
Yeah.
He's like 71. Looks
Wow.
pretty. He looks the same. He's looked the same since I've always remembered how he looked. So I was just like, holy shit.
For 71, that's a good look.
Yeah.
Look at the man then.
Good for you. Cool.
Other than that, I watched A Quiet Place as well.
What the hell? You
It
don't
was
watch
good.
movies?
You liked it?
Very reminiscent, and he even said he stole from Jurassic Park. Like I haven't seen a film where I've fucking clenched
The quietness.
the
They're
fucking seats because it's so intense.
Yeah.
Since Jurassic Park, and
Okay.
that's how it felt like.
Nice.
The end, the fucking water. Cállate, cállate, bebé, cállate, bebé. Come on, that was intense. I was just like, oh, shut the baby up.
I have a question. Do you see whatever it is?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see it very well.
Okay.
You see it very well.
Okay.
That
Cool.
stupid old man.
For me, it's been kind of mellow. After the last few weeks, it's been like WonderCon, Ren Fair. Now I was doing all this preparation for working for BeachCon, which I did on Sunday. So I took it easy on Friday and Saturday. I had another Mewtwo raid, caught him. I have another one this coming weekend. Just got too many Mewtwo's. Now. It's becoming annoying.
I can't hold all these Mewtwo's.
But it's fun. I like it. I'm actually now part of the Discord channel I'm a part of for Pokemon Go and Irvine Tustin. They've announced recently and I've volunteered to be a part of it, an administrator role for the Discord. So I'm trying to like be involved and help.
Did the mapping thing where it tells you like the raid like is
Where
that
they are,
fixed?
it's still down.
Oh shit.
And it's gotten like harder because they're like hard banning spoofers.
Oh, okay.
And it's caused, I guess, some discourse between the community because the big thing is people that play in the rural areas it's like a shit
don't-
game
yeah.
for them because there's maybe one Pokestop. If a raid pops up, they can't do it.
Yeah.
They're limited. There are things that they've been doing lately with this whole quest thing because legendaries become available to them just by doing basic quests. So that's good endeavors. But I think the spoofing thing was a lot of rural players were resorting to spoofing as a means to like
Play
have
it.
things
Yeah.
or like play, and it's a bummer. I don't really think it's a good way because at least here where it's like, oh, we're trying to play with people, you're seeing people like get all these exclusive things, but I'm not like outwardly trying to.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're ruining my experience. But I guess I think the only time that would be an issue is if PvP was introduced. Then you're like, okay, now you clearly have an advantage over me.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. Anyway, it's a bunch of hullabaloo. I did work BeachCon on Sunday, and that was an interesting experience because I was social media. I was like, what do I do? He's like, just take Instagram stories. And I'm not really familiar with Instagram stories. I'm like, this is like Snapchat, and I don't know jack shit about Snapchat.
So I recently got into like using Instagram. The first time it's easy because like there's an
stories.
area. Yeah, there's an area that tells you like
Right.
you know add a story. Perfect.
Yeah.
Add a story. After that same area becomes the video that you just made. I'm like, how the fuck do I add more stories? That's the issue I had the very first
I
time.
just knew I just kept
Ah, you
swiping to the thing.
motherfucker.
But it was just like, do I make this a boomerang? Do I make this a zoom? Do I was like, I'm just gonna like either take a photo, but I hate how it limits because everything's really vertical.
You got to do
And-
this face and start ranting. Well, I'm at VeeCon right now, but
yeah, on the BeachCon's like account. I'm like, I don't know. But I was like, what's okay? Because the first few, I was like, I don't know what to do. And I literally just took a photo. I'm like, here at BeachCon. And I posted it. I'm like, the other guy in charge was like, yeah, it's fine.
The guy's too scantily clad.
I'm like, how frequently do I post? I don't know, because if it was left to me, I would do some funny stuff. I'd like try things. But they've been so far very regimented. Like, we want this message, we want this tagged, we want these sponsors tagged, we want this. And I'm like, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
But after a point, like I got into the groove. I'm like, I'm here for
taking off your shirt.
Well, I started doing some funny videos. Like, there was a guy doing VR, and he was like pretending to do a shotgun. So I just have him on Boomerang, just like,
dude, you should have did the doom, 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 doom.
I did that for a few things, like little plushies and stuff later. There was actually a dude, so they had a Dropkick is like a fighting game community in the nearby area, and they had a tournament outside, and that was my favorite thing to watch. They had very little LAN at this LAN party event. It was much more esports, like very esports focused, like League of Legends, Dota, CS:GO. Like, that was anyone who had a computer was doing that. And I was like, whatever. Like, this isn't it was cool to be a part of, but I definitely was like, this isn't for me.
Right.
But I'm glad to see it have escalated, become what it is, because the mayor of Long Beach came in like, this is one of the biggest like local like Long Beach run things for gaming, and that's really cool.
Yeah, the roof is about to be, the lid's about to be opened up on this.
So I'm doing posts. I literally was it was a small area, and I was just taking photos and sitting and taking more photos and going in laps. And I was like, is this what I'm doing for 10 hours?
For the rest of my life?
And I was like, God. But it was fun. I got to a point where I'm like, I don't need to post for a while, so I'm just going to sit and watch these people play. They had an artist alley, and this was really cool. I checked out a bunch of artists. There was one that I really liked. She did a bunch of like scantily clad Overwatch characters, but then she had a section where she's like, oh, I do commissions and cool doodles. And I looked at them like, oh, those are really cool. Like, it's a Breath of the Wild Zelda. It's this and that. So I was like, can I get a commission? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'll be done by a later day. So I was like, okay. I have a reference photo for you. She's like, oh, okay, cool. So she got it done for me. I bought it.
Uh-oh. Let's
Let's
guess what it is.
No, I don't know.
Mewtwo.
You holding too many Mewtwo's that you can't.
I wanted something for the podcast.
I figured it was going to be a triple.
And do you guys remember one of the photos we took at WonderCon?
Yes.
The three of us?
Yes.
Mark,
minus Mark Wade. But
no, not that one. So I'll show you.
Oh,
nice.
that was in front of the.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool.
Good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
It made me laugh.
And it's colored.
Yeah,
damn,
it was really cool. I was like,
I'll show it to you, and I'm gonna put it up to the camera.
Yeah, go for it. I have a comparison of like the legit.
Word.
Yeah, that's good. You're doing good. I'll post it on our page too. That's fine. But yeah, we'll have it on the page too. But this is like the comparison of the photo I gave her and then what she gave. And it makes me laugh. Every time I see it, it just makes me laugh.
Looking at Jang's hand now, it's like it's not even like
it's just two fingers. But yeah, wanted this for the three of us. I thought it was cool. So
that can be the
our new
the banner or whatever
on our SoundCloud.
Very cool. I like the watercolor.
Yeah.
Dude, Jang's rosy ass. Holy shit. Very cool.
I like how she got your beard.
I know.
It was really cool. But anyway, that was one of the highlights of the venue for me. They came to like, oh, we're going to feed everyone. I was like, oh, thank God, I'm starving. It was literally like half this table.
Oh,
you can't see the table. $1 menu McDonald's.
Oh, bad.
And I was like, oh,
you're
God.
like, you get there, you're like, I love McDonald's.
I had a burger. I haven't had McDonald's in forever. And I've been eating healthy. It did not agree with me. It was like, rejection.
You should have done a video, like a fake video. Yes, I'm going to attempt to eat all these videos.
And then just like the aftermath, like, oof.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was a long day. They had a cosplay contest that I thought went cool, but there's been a lot of like, there's this one person who's been harassing a lot of people, and it's a pain in the butt. But it's interesting because it's giving me some perspective. I was talking to you guys about it, like when you're part of an organization hosting something or preparing a content or whatever it may be, and someone has a bad experience at this or has something that that doesn't jive with them, they're a hater, whatever the reason may be, but the way they express it is not constructive,
Right.
and it's just like bashful, and it more people flock to him that are also feeling that way, and you feel like you're being targeted in some ways because like you just see it and you're like, man, this is, like I want to say something. Like, there's been a few times like you bitch, like
Meet me outside.
yeah, I want. There's so many things, and you're like, nah, like that just fuels it. Like at the end of the day, like I might get something out, but it's an internet fight, and internet fights just go nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how that's
thing
been.
is-
It was a really cool experience.
Would you do it again?
Maybe I definitely felt like I would want if I could. I feel like I got this part down. Like if they asked me to do that again, but I kind of was like, if they have something fighting community related, like someone helping organize it or someone being like the liaison for that, I kind of wanted to be a part of that. There were some cool dudes there. Like I was just talking to some of the fighters. One guy brought like a Mortal Kombat fight stick for like Dragon Ball Z Fighter, Street Fighter 5. And another guy was wearing a shark head while he was doing fights on his board. And another dude had like a board where it was no
Hitbox.
stick. It was just hitbox. I was like, man, this is really cool. Just like seeing it, like throwing down. It was really cool. Yeah, that was me. And then outside of that,
I'm gonna fight with the keyboard. Just
do it.
Show them up.
Just take out every other button.
Fight with one of those
drive-
helipad, the
Jet fighter.
Oh,
yeah, the jet fighter sticks.
Hori.
Hori.
MOBA. No. Well, yeah,
No.
you're right. You're close. No, Hori's the brand.
Yeah, yeah.
Shoot, I already forgot the name.
Yeah,
I have it. Because I use it too, and I remember like I was like always searching for like the best one. I could never find. I was trying to buy like the $500 sets for like
They're expensive.
$200,
Yeah.
but I ended up buying like $150 like not a Logitech. I don't remember
One of the
brand.
brands. Yeah. Yeah. So outside of that, I saw the monster and I think I was like, oh, I want to start. So I got like the beginnings of the quest so I can start it, and I did the Mega Man thing, and then I played some DBZ Fighter. And what's funny is Katie's never seen Dragon Ball Z, doesn't know anything about Dragon Ball Z. She's seen Piccolo. She's like, I know the green guy, but she's seeing me play it, and there's a story to it. She's like, what's he saying? Ariba? I'm like, no, it's Kamehameha. And she's like, why? Why is his hair changing color? And I'm like, no, it's because of his power. And I'm explaining it, but it's making me crack up so much. She's like, aren't you? But I'll skip through the story. I'm like, whatever. It's Dragon Ball Z. It's a lot of filler.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I want to hear the dialogue. I'm like, what? Okay, fine. It's funny hearing her observations about it. Like, why are they screaming all the time? I'm like, that's just what they do.
What's this 9,000?
Yeah. I explained to her Vegeta and the whole backstory to Vegeta. And she's like, I can respect that. I was like, he's got morals. Like, these other people sound like goofballs.
He's got morals. Fucking bad guy. Pretty
Well, like,
much.
we got into a conversation about bad guys. It's like, usually a bad guy has a pathos or like a reason to fight.
Mhm.
Whereas a lot of times the good guys don't get defined as well in that sense. And that's why she appreciated that. She's like, oh, it sounds like he's got something, like some substance to him.
Gotcha.
So she liked that. I'm like, that's why I like him.
Because
Anyway.
he's a bad guy.
You guys want to get into topics?
Let's do it.
Okay, I think we're starting with yours.
We're starting with mine.
Okay.
So my topic recently, there's been. I'm still gonna put it out there as a rumor that Call of Duty Black Ops 4 will not have a single player campaign. The game's gonna come out and it's gonna be only. It's gonna be only multiplayer. And then there's also been another story that supposedly Anthem, which is a game by EA, I think EA
BioWare.
BioWare.
Yeah, BioWare, which EA owns.
EA owns. So Anthem is supposed to be kind of like similar to like the way Bungie or
Division and Destiny.
Division and Destiny is, and so mainly like it's going to be a multiplayer type game. But then they were like, we're gonna, after the whole debacle with
Andromeda?
Yeah, Andromeda.
Okay.
They're like, we're gonna focus more on the story now. So it's a multiplayer game, but they're gonna have a nice deep story to it, is what they're saying. And then when it comes to a game that's known for both a single player and multiplayer, which
But
is the Black Ops, they're gonna completely separate it, and they're not even doing a single player anymore. They're not doing a story. It's just gonna be pure multiplayer. So they don't have to worry about making, obviously story, character, stuff like that. but this is something that they're not known for. They've always done really like a single player
Yeah.
campaign for all of their games,
Mhm.
and then there's always been like kind of like a tie-in to the multiplayer. Why this is happening? Like there's obviously like the two teams that you fight within the single player stuff, and this isn't going to be there. But is this something that you think is okay in like in this world, in this day and age that we're moving towards, where it's fine that they're known for this, but they're going to focus on one thing over another? I mean, because it is when you think about multiplayer games, or like specifically like Call of Duty, like that's their number one thing that keeps them going is
Right.
the multiplayer after the single player is done. But there's people that have gotten in. I have a coworker who she's bought in all these games before, and she's super into the single player stuff.
Right. Yeah. I
And,
feel like that.
You
You go back to like the Modern Warfare, the first 1 and 2. You're like
yeah,
those campaigns.
those were good. Yeah, like those are one of my favorite ones. Yeah. So like, how do you guys feel? Like, is this something that you think in the future is okay? Just because I'm not saying like it's a bad thing.
Sure,
but
it's a change.
do you think this change is right for certain games or other games, depending on the publisher or like the game, the way it's designed? What do you guys think?
I think that. I mean, as long as they do a good job with it, like for example, Fortnite,
Mm-hmm.
just straight up, that's all they do, multiplayer, and they don't need to put a story behind it. As long as you're good at, as long as it's good, I don't think it matters. Like Last of Us, they didn't need to tack on a multiplayer. They could have just left fucking single player. It still would have been a great game.
So you agree, like, so you're
yeah,
okay
they can,
with them?
Yeah, they can do
doing
it
this?
as long
Okay.
as they do a good job. But if they
Gotcha.
don't do a good job,
Yeah.
then
You want whatever the product is to be quality.
right.
I think I was seeing some after you mentioned this to me. I was reading up about it, and I saw some interesting points that, from a business standpoint, I could see the argument as to why they want to separate it or remove it. I think Activision could be questioning, like, why are we giving more when people are willing to play or pay for less? Like,
Yeah.
in the sense that they are, Fortnite, for example, or any some games that just offer multiplayer, all they offer is multiplayer, and millions of people are flocking to it. They pretty much have the market right now. PUBG, Fortnite, all these other battle royales that are like coming out the wazoo. That's all that they've done. They don't have any single player. So why are we going through the extra lengths and time and resources and whatnot to give them multiplayer, to give them single player, and not get as much sales or whatever? Like, it's more in, less out. So maybe they'll be like, okay, our new strategy could be, and this is what I would be for. I think I would be interested in seeing how it works for them. Is let's provide one thing, and if they want more, we can be like, hey, this is coming later. Like, if as they support it, it could be a new way of a business model, something where we have a single player campaign. If you want that you purchase it a la carte, maybe. We have another mode. Do you want to purchase that? And it's more like segment. Like,
I think that still kind of defeats why they're doing it in the first place. Like the way. So the reason I feel like the reason why they're creating simply multiplayer as opposed to the single player is to concentrate more time on the development of this. But if you're saying like pay more for the single player, they're still putting that time for the single player.
There should be an initial launch of whatever product. So let's say they just do multiplayer. That's the start. That's the package.
Okay.
If it does well, and they have plans, they have ideas to go further in other directions or other modes, then go use those resources to do that, to continue it. But you have your base package, which is that quality multiplayer experience. I like single player, but it's not always like Titanfall came out. That was pure multiplayer. It was cool a little bit, but I feel like for $60, it was not enough.
Right.
When the second one came out, perfect. I love the single player. The multiplayer has been continuously supported. I haven't really delved into it, but I keep an eye on it, and I'm like, man, they're putting out newsletters like Bungie does. They have new game modes. They have all this content. I'm like, that worked for them at that time. I'm curious what Activision does. I'm curious what Anthem does. It could be maybe they're all going towards this more. There's Battle Royale to play with. There's games as a service to play with, which is like the MOBA, not the MOBA, the MMORPG, massive Division, Destiny style that is still like a new thing in a lot of ways. I'm curious, like, how that's going to play. Grand Theft Auto sort of has like a model
Yeah.
to some degree, right? Like the 5 is like one of the most successful things.
I feel
ever.
like theirs took a similar path that you did. Like they literally did a single player game, and then they added multiplayer, which wasn't even that fantastic in the beginning. It was literally just the same map, and people can just jump.
But it was
in.
like a first.
It was a first, and then I don't even know how it took off, but like
It
they
did.
started doing like super events for it, like all this stuff. Like they added the heists, and it's like holy shit. They were like, let's see how this pans out, and they're like, people love it, and
And
now
all
like
the
they
resources
were
went to that.
they were one of the most like successful full game company like microtransactions with when it came to like the cash shark
Well,
cash or whatever.
There was a recent thing of they just broke some record of like the most games ever sold ever,
Shit.
or something to that effect. I
I
forget.
think that was a
something
while
grand.
ago actually. No,
Well, it was another one
Oh,
like
okay.
it. Like
they beat another.
they were already good.
Another accolade.
Yeah.
Fuck. So my sense on it is, I agree with like the way you guys are. So I would like them to concentrate on something that as long as it was a good title, like when like you brought up Jang, you brought up
Last of Us?
Last of Us. Honestly, I felt like the story was fantastic, and I felt like the multiplayer was great. So they did a good job. But like thinking about it, like how much better do you think the story would have been if they only concentrate on that? Like, or maybe they would have done a better job with the graphics, even though like they are fantastic already. Like, there's nothing wrong.
I feel
with
like
them.
they hit the 100% with the game, and they're like, "Hey, we have some extra time, or some of us are willing to work weekends or whatever, and we want to also do this."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like
because we want to have like office matches. Or,
it was
I don't know,
fulfilling.
whatever.
Like
Yeah.
there was like I was completely satisfied with both directions. And then you had brought up what game did you just brought up? Not
Titanfall,
yeah, Titanfall. So with Titanfall, I bought that game,
the first one.
the second one.
Okay.
The second one. And this one, the first one did not have a single player. It was
No.
literally only a multiplayer. The second one had a single player mode and or like a story mode and the multiplayer. I never touched the single player on that one. So
Really?
for me, it would have been something like they could have concentrated on the multiplayer. The multiplayer for me was fantastic, but it wasn't. I don't feel like it had longevity for it. Like it wasn't enough content for me to stay playing for a very long time.
Yeah, it was no RPG elements
Yeah.
to grind. It was just like just keep playing. We're
Yeah.
here.
hmm
I liked that about it. It was like quick. You want to play a quick match? Do it. You got a mech. This is fun.
So like times
But-
like that.
Okay.
So like times like that, like they saw. I'm sure they can see people playing like their single player mode as opposed to their multiplayer mode. Because when they go online to play multiplayer, they can see that.
It was feedback too. Titanfall 1, a lot of their feedback was we want a campaign.
Right.
And they gave a campaign
Mhm.
and Game of the Year nominations and all that.
Yeah. So they did a fantastic job. So yeah, I mean, listening to that feedback, I think it's always a good idea. And I mean, at least for me on most of the Call of Duty games, the newer ones, the Black Ops, I never played the story mode. I just load that bad boy up, and I'm like first in line to play the multiplayer to try to like stay ahead of the curve.
But see, like you're putting this is another thing we haven't talked about is multiplayer. We're saying it as one big thing, but PUBG and Fortnite are like one game mode
Mhm.
that is just like that. I feel like Halo and Quake and Call of Duty and those war games. There's always been like, do you guys want to play Rumble? Do you guys want to play
yeah.
so like in like free for all? Do you guys want to play team matches? Do you guys want to play capture the flag? Like all these game modes. Imagine now though, this goes drastically where now you're just getting a capture the flag game. Now you're just getting a free for all game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that could go sour fast. Like if like it to me, it doesn't work with Black. Like I'm curious how they'll do it. I definitely want. I'm like, if they do something cool and innovative, that'd be
Battle
great. But if they do
Royale.
like the current thing and just segment it, I don't. That part I wouldn't be keen on.
Yeah, you know what? If they do
Like if they do
release-
all multiplayer, okay, that's one thing. But if they like, here's capture flag, here's this.
So I've
$20,
I'm,
$20.
I'm stuck in the past where when I say multiplayer, at least for Call of Duty, I'm thinking of like these different game modes.
All together.
Yeah, all together. So now this brings up like if these guys come out and they're like, this game's battle royale for now, and then later on we'll release like all the other game modes like little by little. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, they've essentially just been like, we can give you
Yeah.
less for the same.
Pretty much. But I mean, like, again, if that's the case, I do want to see the quality. Like, I want to see the quality in that, in the amount I'm given. Like,
Wait and see.
because most of these games, like PUBG, is a paid. You have to pay to play it. Like, well, you pay
Yeah.
one fee and then you can play, and it's not even like a full price. It's $30, I believe, $29.99.
I mean, it's full price.
A full price for the game, but I mean, it's not like a $60
A traditional,
game.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not a traditional price, I guess. But then when we look at Fortnite's just a free to play game.
for the battle royale, it's free. But there's like before it was a battle royale, they were like a tower defense. Thing.
horde,
That's what they came released as.
Yeah, and I think the Tower Release game was a
That was paid.
it was a pay. But yeah, now like their battle royale version is a free game. You can just pick it up and play. You can download it. And they do a good job too. But also they're making a lot of money through the microtransactions through. They have like a battle pass system where it gives you extra rewards, or you can just buy money and buy buy like special coins and buy exclusive clothing that comes out like every day or every week. Something new comes out that you can buy that maybe might not come back.
I think another factor. I wanted my own final thought is we're annoyed with the fact that we've got, like, at least I am, that we've been getting all this content in one package for that price, and now there's a possibility that it could be segmented. I think it also goes that, well, games cost more now to make. Like on the things that we want them to be able to do take way more resources to do each of those individual things. So for that same package now would take way more time, way more effort, way more money. And this is another way of them dealing with that versus like doing in combination with or in place of DLC expansions, microtransactions. It's like, we have to parcel it.
Like certain AAA games, I feel like in the future won't be able to be the same price. God of War,
It's evolving.
Probably like Death Stranding. I wonder if this.
I don't even know
if
what
this
that's gonna be.
No, I know, but I wonder if this game like Death Stranding will come out with like a different price point. It'll be like a certain amount, and then
it'll be the same price point, but if you want the ending, you gotta pay. That's probably
the true ending.
The true ending. No, but the thing is, like, yeah, like it's getting more and more expensive, like or at least for the quality, like the graphics, like it's
if they want
taking
to
a
keep
lot
up
more
with
time.
like 4K, they want to keep up with the latest
Yeah.
consoles. They want to provide all the features. They want to do that. It's not the same as what it was on a
and it's adding
NES
more.
or
So
something.
yeah, I mean, in a sense, I'm okay with paying like for like if you're doing a story, I'll pay for that story because I know what I'm going to be getting. Like when it comes to like God of War or
Knack 2.
Knack
Battle
2 or
Knack
Death
Attack.
Stranding, stuff like that. I know what I'll be getting from these guys. Or I mean, it's not 100% guaranteed, but I know that
There's
the
a
quality will.
reputation.
Yeah, there's a reputation that precedes it that you feel like I'm willing to back this up for it for the price. But then there's games like Call of Duty that have not succeeded. Yeah, like there's certain games that came out and you're like, this is the same thing as last time, and this is the same thing.
Well,
as
that
last time.
goes in the annualization of things.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Yeah, so with them concentrating on this, I do hope that they make something different. But yeah, I mean, like with them concentrating on that, I think that's something that in the future it's going to become more relevant. More, you'll see it more often with companies where they'll concentrate on one thing as opposed to multiple.
E3 is going to be interesting this year with this battle royale.
A lot of, I feel like I'm going to call it right now, and I'll bring this up in the like maybe when we have a
we do
about it.
predictions or like bets.
There's going to be a game that's going to come out. It's going to be a regular game, and then they're going to be like, it's done, and then it's going to be like it's going to go all black, and then something else can come back up, and they're like battle royale version as well coming out.
Mario Kart.
I'm like,
That's what I was thinking. Blue shells. Get the blue shells.
No. You guys are thinking small, dude. Smash Bros. Battle Royale Smash.
Wow.
99 stock.
Right. There you go.
God. All right. Next topic is yours. Yeah.
So there's a thing that's trending: 4 films that define you. But mine's not going to be films. It's 4 video games that define you. Define yourself in 4 video games.
Define.
Do you want to
We'll
go
go
around the
around-
room or
we'll
do
go
I want
around.
to do the 4?
I feel like we should do the 4 each, like not go around the room.
I guess.
I can go either way.
That way, just to keep it all together per person. I think it's
Okay.
just better for this one specifically, and maybe another one.
All right.
Okay,
It
freestyle
keeps it
Friday.
keeps it relevant. It keeps it relevant. I feel. Are you gonna freestyle?
Well, no, mine don't like make a total package, but I feel like it'll keep the conversation rotating. So it's like I'm not talking for,
All right, let's rotate it then.
and it gives you more time to figure out.
Well, I have my game.
I mean,
one.
for the other one. For the other one.
I just need one more.
Okay. So, Jane,
I'll
you want to
start
start us
with
off
mine,
since it's your topic?
I'm
Where's my
gonna
camera?
say Super Mario Brothers because that was the first game that made me fall in love with games. So I'm gonna keep it simple. Super Mario. Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario Bros. This one was hard for me. Like, so I'm gonna give a heads up now. My topic is the 4 films that defined you. So we'll
Mhm.
get to that after. But I feel like between the two, I had a harder time with the games because
I know one of yours though.
games.
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
I'm just gonna say what it's a Star Wars game.
Yeah,
That's
it is. We'll start with that. Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh,
KOTOR.
wow. I mean, that just wasn't in my head. Like when he said the stars, I was like, "Now this is fun." And then when you said, I was like, "Oh wait, that is the game he's always talking about." Shit.
The other one, though, there was another one. It was Jedi Outcast.
Okay.
Yeah, number 2. But anyway, Knights of the Old Republic 1 on the original Xbox. That game, like, I can think of my teenage years like being shaped by that because of all the expanded universe novels I read. This kind of fed into that because it was like way away from like all the movies. It was its own thing. I bought an Xbox. Like I was reading EGM or something at the time. PC Gamer, not PC Gamer, Xbox Magazine, whatever it was on the newsstand. I was like, all right, where does this game come out? Because I've been reading these fucking novels. I love this. I was like, all right, is it only Xbox? All right, that's mine. That's whenever I get, because getting a console was like a defining moment. It's like that's the person you're. It's like choosing a college. That was how I like.
It pretty much was.
But
though.
it was like you're gonna be a PS4 kid, PS2 kid for the next however many years.
Which surprisingly you changed over. I don't know when.
That was. I go into that later. But there was the Nintendo route, and then there was the Xbox route, and I was like, I'm gonna be an Xbox kid for who knows how
I feel
long.
like everyone's a Nintendo person, and then it's either
branched.
it branches out to either Sony or Microsoft.
I think the early years, at least in our youth, it was you were a Nintendo kid or you were a Sega kid.
Yeah.
That was a big thing too. But in my neighborhood, it wasn't too prevalent. Nintendo was more prevalent because of the Game Boy.
Mhm.
I know Sega Saturn was badass because of the color, but it was fucking huge. But yeah, it was more of a So I went the Xbox route, and I remember getting it summer. I would always lug my giant Xbox in my luggage when I go to see family, and in Oregon, and I had it set up. I had a CRT ready, and I went to the EB Games, picked up my copy, and I got to a planet, and this planet was beautiful. Like I look back at it, and I'm still amazed by how beautiful it was. I was like, I want to live. This is like I see Star Wars in the movies. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be there. Like you always get those vibes. Like I imagine living there or whatever. I saw Dantooine, which is like this like very calm, peaceful like farm planet with like stock. It's like out of Gladiator where you just like there's a field. And I was like, man, there's like flying stingrays. There's like peaceful life. Everyone's living. I was like, I want to be there. Like it just felt so tranquil.
And then you proceeded with your missions.
And and I was a good guy. It was not the whole Sith
the
Jedi
Paragon.
thing. That made a big impact on me. I love that game. The decision making, the being able to freeze, the RPG elements, all that stuff.
I don't know if I have a lot to say about these games. I mean, there are huge moments in my life, but I don't feel like I have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I don't
Few
know where to
words
start.
can go a long way. I just can't shut up. So.
I'll do that one my last one. So my first one's gonna be World of Warcraft. This is probably like my biggest, like the game I spent the most. Like I don't think anything can hold a candle to this fucking game with the amount of time I spent with it. But it's also like not my most proudest because I was like those nerds that like, they just spend their whole time on the computer. Like they don't like, I didn't even fucking think about going to the restroom. Like it's just, this is what I did to spend my time. I was not a social person when I used this game. Like I wasn't even socializing in the game
It
either.
made you forget about appetite. Like that sort of stuff.
Like it's not something like I'm proud of. Like I wish like later in life, I found friends to play it, and that was more enjoyable. But before that, it was just like I was living on my own. I was doing my own thing. I never wanted to like talk to anyone in the game. I was just trying to play it. and I just like very antisocial even within that whole game environment. So it's not something that like I feel proud of, but it's something I need to mention just because it was just a huge part of my life.
Right.
And I do feel like it's something
It
like
made you appreciate though.
Yeah.
Like the other aspects.
yeah, I feel like it did keep me it allowed me to like appreciate things when they came to me, you know, friendship wise within the game and stuff like that. I was able to really appreciate it just because playing it without that, it's something that just wasn't enjoyable. So yeah, World of Warcraft is one of mine.
Which one should I pick? Okay, my favorite Metal Gear Solid is Metal Gear Solid 3, but I didn't choose Metal Gear Solid 3. I chose Metal Gear Solid 2 for the what the fuck moments. And the reason why it defines me is when I make like YouTube videos, I kind of want to instill like that what the fuck did I just watch? So like Hideo Kojima like kind of like influences me to be a better YouTube video maker and just make really weird, quirky, like
And Casey
unpredictable.
Neistat.
Just an artist.
Kojima hentai.
That's a good one. I still haven't finished that one, but I can appreciate it. There's the guy on the roller skates or whatever. That was definitely one of those
Freezing
what
the
the fuck
sequel.
moments. All right, next one for me. I was at a friend's house, and it was my neighbors, and they always had everything I wanted. They had all of it. Like if I wanted Star Fox and the canon on Super Nintendo, they had it. If I didn't even know about Mech Warrior and like
They had it.
arcade stick, they had it. Like that I discovered a lot of things. One of the days after like the typical like they would show me like Mech Warrior and all these other things, I was like, wow, this is so cool. I mean, like I had my stuff. I was happy with like my
Mhm.
but I saw him and he's like, let me show you a game. I'm like, okay. Loads up this game, StarCraft.
Oh.
And like he just puts in like, check out what you can do. Black Sheep Wall, show me the money, all these other codes. And he just starts building pylons. I'm like, whoa, look at those effects, like all this stuff. And he just builds these cannons. I'm like, what the fuck are those? Like he just like keeps doing it. I'm like, just watch. And we're like kids, tiny like children. And he all of a sudden like enemies just start coming, and all these cannons just pop up, just blast the shit out of him. I'm like, whoa. He's like, yeah. And he just keeps building them all the way into their base. And I'm like, holy shit. He's like, no, you haven't seen anything yet. And a carrier comes in, and it just all this beehive swarm comes out. I was like, whoa, like this blew my mind. And then I found out there were 3 different races: humans, the Zerg, and the
Yeah.
Protoss. And like I was engrossed. And I was just like playing the story. I got the battle chest. It was so cool. There was all these like art in the guides. And then I learned that there's an online, and that was my introduction to like online gaming. Battle.net.
Ladder match.
No, learning about custom games, learning about like LAN.
30 minutes, no rush.
Yeah, learning
PVZ.
about fucking betrayal. I've shared stories about betrayal with that game. I learned
PVZ only.
that game turned me into a man. No, I'm kidding.
30
but,
minutes.
But like, it was a whole new world for me, just of PC gaming. Like before that, it was like Putt Putt and some other like Math Blasters, Number Munchers, fun games. Like I love these games, but it was educational, it was child stuff. This was like, this is
strategic.
When I saw AZN in someone's name, I was like, oh shit.
Fuck.
I learned about
You
clans.
Korean?
I didn't know what clans were before then. I was like, oh yeah, I want to be in a group. Like this is cool. Like my classmates there was a few that are like, yeah, we made it to this clan. I'm like, who the fuck is these people? Do you even know them? Like, no. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Like you're badass. I was like, dumbass. That really.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
An indirection of multiplayer or like online essentially.
I have honorable mentions to that as well, but in
Yeah.
different ways. I had to like go back to the birth of that. Okay.
Well,
Oh, it's I'm used to going this
I
way.
can just leave. I don't even want to be part of this podcast.
No, you can't. You are. It's painted.
Well, you should have
We
done
have
that
to like
before.
replace this artwork now with
You
like.
can email her and do like, can you erase this person? So my next one is gonna be Final Fantasy VII. It's I would say it's one of the first few games that got me into like essentially like RPG, like Japanese RPG, really. And then from there it was like Chrono Trigger. It just broke into other games, but yeah, Final Fantasy VII was like my first big game where it was a game that was well received, and I was
Yeah.
able to talk to people about it and be like, yeah, this is one. He's like, that's for me too. And now it's so convoluted. People are like, no, that's trash. Like, if you like that game, you're
Yeah,
trash.
this is all weird.
I know.
People
But yeah,
now experiencing it.
yeah.
That's
For
a good
me, yeah, it is Final Fantasy VII Materia all the way.
It's split between two. Uncharted Remaster and Ninja Gaiden 2. Sometimes I get into these like really difficult games and I have to like focus like a laser beam and
So
get the trophies.
I
and
feel like I
get-
lived through Uncharted with with that one game.
Yeah, so like sometimes I just get this like weird like focus mode and I have to beat it on the hardest difficulty.
in 6 hours.
And so Ninja Gaiden 2 was also like a really difficult.
I haven't finished it. So
well, not recently. You've beaten him before, though, no?
not the hardest difficulty.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay.
My next one is sort of the what filling in what the StarCraft did, which was it was the big impact for me on local gaming. And that was the original Super Smash Bros. Like it was I had played games like we played GoldenEye, which was also a big one. We played other like Mario Kart. We played all these, but Smash Brothers was the one that like I felt the most connection with my friends and the most like peak enjoyment, and like we were at our best, like just talking shit, playing around. Me and my brother playing growing up, me and my friends playing growing up, me and just like whoever playing. Like it was just Smash was fun. Like I could play solo and be like, I want to do these targets.
Yeah.
And those, and I like getting Ness. I was like, oh yeah, like just every aspect of Smash was just so cool. It was like, this is possible. You can cross over shit.
It's funny. For my next one, it's Zelda Ocarina of Time. So this is like my first. I don't know if it was my first, but my it was like an adventure game. You know, that like you followed one person and like you became that hero. You know, I always felt like the puzzles were amazing. I remember even back then people were talking about like how the water temple was just a piece of shit level, and I was like, I never had trouble with it. And now like at an older age, I'm like replaying it on the 3DS, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this game, dude? What's wrong with this temple? This is a piece of shit temple. But back then I remember like I just got it. I was like, I mean, there's levels and you just go like, I was like, I didn't have an issue with it. But yeah, now it's like, fuck, dude, there's so much information to take in with this one. But yeah, that was one of my favorites. It's so good. And then from there, it was pretty much like Majora's Mask and shit like that.
My last game is the game I spent the most time on, Monster Hunter, but specifically Freedom Unite, with broken hitboxes. And
Plezia.
but I mean, what can I say? I just spent the most.
What
time.
haven't you said?
I spent the most time with Monster Hunter. I just love the game. The grind. I love the grind. I don't know. They make the grind really exciting.
I was really tempted to put it on here, but like I thought of the reason. Like it is in my honorable mention, and it definitely defines my current gaming. But like when I thought about it, for me, I was like, I feel like it came later. Like I jumped on later. Like I came on in 3 Ultimate, 4 Ultimate. I'm like, that didn't define me. I was already defined by then, and it's definitely one of my favorites. Like 4 Ultimate is my favorite, I think, of all until World now. But like I have the most memories with 4. But that's definitely for me. Pokemon Original Blue.
Pokemon Go.
It was no. It doesn't hold a candle to how much time I put into the blue version. The art, like I look at like the old, like just the sketches of like how they looked.
Yeah.
I was like, these are fucking like badass monsters. I would want to draw them. Everything. Like I was absorbed in that game, and I remember the trailers for it and everything. It was so just like that game showed me like you can take games with you when we would drive on the road. When we would, I was like, I'm in the bathroom, you know, just playing. I was like, I mean, it made me think of like, oh, I gotta get to a save point. Everything. I just loved that game. So many good memories. And then the Link Battle trading.
I remember I had a cable with me everywhere I went, and I also had the
light.
Yeah, it used to be light because I didn't no backlight on
No,
this thing.
no backlight. Sucks on a drive.
Yeah. And then my number one is International Ragnarok Online.
Ooh.
This is another like MMO essentially, but I wouldn't say massive. I mean, it would peak out like at 2,000 players probably. But it was like people that played this, you're like, you knew they like anime, manga. Like this is the style that the game was. I had it's like my first like I had a girlfriend in this like a legit like it was obviously a real person was
Yeah.
playing, but the characters were so like cutesy that you would act out in the game. And then she cheated on me. Gave her my account, took everything, gave it to someone else. I came back and she was still there. I'm like, you're a bitch. And then it did, but I had already quit the game by then. And in a sense, I was actually glad that she like took everything. I mean, it wasn't like it was obviously ill intent, but they just wanted like the game was evolving and there was newer gear to get, and I had a lot of the great gear from the past, but it was like literally irrelevant at that point, and so they were using the money to buy newer relevant gear. And obviously like with me playing the game, I completely understood what was going on, but it was a good way for me to be able to like stop playing the game, because
like,
I would hop back in like every few months. I'd be like, what's going on now? And and this was like a way for me to like just stop playing.
cut ties.
Cut ties with the game. But I would say it's my most like it affected me the most. Like it was one of the games that I played very positively, and I had the most social interaction within that game. So it's my number one.
Cool.
Do you want to move on to the
Next topic?
next time?
Yeah.
Books?
We're going to have to be
Or
a little
books?
bit quick on it. But yeah, the next topic is going to be my topic, which is 4 films that define me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start off with Mortal Kombat. Dun, dun, dun. No, I love that movie. The music, iconic. One of my friends that introduced me to StarCraft, we would watch it, and we'd have it like we watched it so many times. We got to the scene where Shang Tsung is transforming into Lu's brother, and we would act out that whole scene from the point where he turns into Lu's brother and he's trying to convince him, and the whole back and forth to all the way into the fight where he's like, "No, he's not my brother. Shang Tsung took him," and then like, we'd act that whole thing out while it was on. It was so fun. I loved it. I remember dressing up like Kung Lao, Liu Kang's ancestor. I love that movie. It's just so good. It's one of the best video game movies of all time.
I'll go next.
Go.
The Labyrinth is one of mine with David Bowie.
Scared the shit out of
Who directed it?
I don't know.
But it had Jim Henson's puppets. And that's one of the most iconic things. Like there are scenes where it's like, fuck, dude, it's so like, obviously they didn't have like, you couldn't do CG graphics or anything like that, but it was so well done. Like some of these small little goblin guys, and you're like, I just watch it and you're like, this is so good. Like this is such, even though it's a darker side movie, I still see it as a child's movie. Like
it's like a Pan's Labyrinth vibe to it.
Yeah,
I can see Del Toro getting inspired by it.
yeah. So it's not obviously a kids movie, but I see it as a kids movie,
Yeah.
and it's a movie that I love and hold dear and near to my heart.
Mine is Back to the Future. This is weird. I'm gonna try to make this real quick. Back to the Future is considered the most perfect script in USC Film School. Back in the day, I was a creative writing major, and I wanted to do screenwriting. So that's why I chose Back to the Future. But obviously, I'm not a screenwriter. I'm not following that passion. But so that's why I put Back to the Future.
Is the first one's your favorite? Do you like the second one or the third one?
I like the
second favorite. Like what's the order?
First, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I like 1, 3, 2.
The kid touching his pee. You seen that, right? Do you know the backstory behind it? He wanted to go pee, but he couldn't. He didn't want to break the scene, so he's like,
God.
And they're like,
And now
keep
you
it!
know.
Keep it.
The next one for me is Jingle All the Way. I love this movie.
Should have known. Should have known.
I love this movie. Arnold, Turbo Man, Sinbad, like the comedy, Christmas. It's all there. It's perfect.
I need that Turbo Man.
Turbo Man doll. I love it. It's amazing.
It's iconic.
I feel like it's a part of me. Like
you know, there was a Turbo Man doll in Ready Player One.
Yeah. What?
No, it's kidding.
No?
Oh,
I
shit.
made
You're
that
like,
up.
yeah,
I
wait,
made
what?
that up.
Was it?
No,
No.
I made it up.
That'd be cool.
I believe it.
He's like the giant machine that they made.
Dude, that's what they should have done. Like summon a mech. Like, no, I'm Turbo Man.
That would've been
I
cool.
summon Turbo
With
Man.
Arnold's voice.
Turbo time.
So mine, it's gonna be Back to the Future as well.
Really?
That dude, like, I remember after that, I wanted to go to Universal Studios because they had created the whole ride.
Yeah.
I was like, it was one of the best things for me. Like, just the flying cars, the future. Like, I've always been in like futuristic stuff and robotics and all this stuff, and that's something that really, I think it initiated that, especially with like the hoverboard and things like that. So yeah, that has to be a movie that's on my list for sure.
That's classic.
Yeah.
Even though Back to the Future is considered the most perfect script in USC Film School, I consider Ghostbusters the most perfect script. Most watched movie, I think,
For you.
for me. Like it's
In
the
the
most.
world.
I think I can like quote it. In yeah, dude, it's like near perfect. The comedy's good.
Yeah.
Like it
One
has
of
all
the-
kinds of comedy in it. It's like yeah, it's too good.
Timeless. Next one. One of the other greatest comedies of all time. Heavyweights.
Oh, nice.
I love this movie. Like,
Hiding the candy when they do the whole entire.
like
Oh my
I
God.
can quote that movie like none other. I love that movie, forwards, backwards, every which way. But it was also kind of like I was very, I don't know. Now I feel like I'm a little bit like tougher skin. Like I can take a joke to people, I can take jabs, whatever, verbally. At that age when I watched it, it was like in grade school and stuff, and I was bullied a lot.
Vulnerable.
I was picked a lot, and it bothered me a lot. And I was very introverted, if you can believe that. And weight was a subject that was brought up sometimes, and that movie made me feel more comfortable and confident with things. And I was like, you know what, I can laugh at things,
Yeah.
and still in work at things or whatever. But I love
Very
that
nice.
movie. Like it had that little moment, but mostly I love the humor. I love
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
about it.
It's a good movie. It has Ben Stiller in it.
Yeah.
huh? Yeah. Motherfucker. So mine.
Gaylord fuck.
This is a toss up because we're on the last two now, right? Yeah. 'cause I
Last
did-
one for me. This is your second to last.
My
one.
second last one. So I'm gonna go with The Goonies.
Ooh.
The Goonies is my number
Some
3.
masterpieces.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like obviously you watch it as a kid, or I watched it as a kid, and it was like, dude, I want like an adventure like that. I want that to just happen. And, like, just stumble upon like these villains. You're like, oh shit, and then you find the treasure.
Oh, those films.
It was so good. That is such a good movie. Such a
Such
good. Oh man, dude.
My second one is Schindler's List, my favorite movie of all time.
Wow.
The reason why is like, I think we should all aspire to be like Schindler. That scene where he's like, I could have saved one more, just one more. Just aspire to be good
Yeah.
in this world. There's a lot of bad in this world, but we should all aspire to be good.
Very true. My last one is another timeless movie. Mighty Ducks 2.
Nice.
That movie, for many reasons. I love sports comedies or kids sports movies like Little Giants, Big Green, Sandlot is another big one, but that was like the one.
I have to say, Big Heavyweights and this movie had the same kid, right?
They had a couple of the same kids. Keenan's in both of
Okay.
them. And the main kid in Heavyweights was in the first Mighty Ducks.
Okay,
He's not
okay.
in the second one.
He's one of the kids that play, right?
Yeah, he was one
Okay.
of the kids. And the runner from Sandlot is also in
Oh,
2
shit.
and 3. He's the Mendoza. He's
Okay.
the one that can't stop.
Yeah.
I love the movie for the comedy, for the team and everything. I also love the movie because it introduced me to Queen. That was where I heard of Queen, and Whoop, there it is.
Yeah, the champions.
Timeless ones. We Are the Champions, all those. I also love the movie because it educated me. That was where I learned about Greenland and Iceland. There's the line where he's like having ice cream with the enemy, Team Iceland. And he's like, you know what? Iceland's really not green. I was like, no shit. Like, I always remembered it because of that. So it like trifecta right there.
Perfect. So mine is Dodgeball. No, I'm just kidding. Princess Mononoke.
Ooh.
In anime. So this was my introduction to Studio Ghibli. And
That's
this
a good introduction.
this is what got me in like starting to play like anime games like IRO International Ragnarok Online. Starting watching anime, reading manga. This was the thing, and then from there it just obviously led to like watching Totoro and Spirited Away and all these other movies, and obviously like after seeing all of them, Princess Mononoke is not like my favorite graphic wise when it comes to all the Studio Ghiblis, but it's the very first one, and it has fond memories for me, like the spirit beings and stuff like that. Like those are all like, it's just like I see those and it's like this is when it started. This is when it started all. Yeah, for me it's epic. And then the girl with when she uses the wolves, and I was just all, it's all really good. I love it. And
that was my
I've seen
first
it recently.
Ghibli movie too,
Yeah.
and it blew my mind.
Fantastic. So yeah, that's my number one.
Number one, It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh shit!
Because life is precious.
Not a Christmas song.
We had this.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Good list. Yeah. Quick, I just want to like go through it. Did you guys have any honorable mentions?
No, I don't have it on this list.
What about for the games?
Yeah, for the games,
Just
I
like
had,
shoot them off.
Monster Hunter, Pokemon Blue, and what was the last one? I got open the gallery, and SOCOM.
Okay.
Just
for movies.
movies,
or for games?
Quentin Tarantino movies, because I want to make cool ass slow motion fucking walking scenes.
That's it. Okay. Games. There was any honorable mentions?
Final Fantasy 6.
Okay.
It goes with It's a Wonderful Life
Chrono
because
Trigger.
there's a thing about suicide in Final
Okay.
Fantasy 6.
That's compliments it. Medal of Honor: Allied Assault was one of my favorite games growing up. Wolfenstein: Enemy Territory, which was an only multiplayer game. Monster Hunter for Ultimate, and then movies. The Raid, Redline.
Nice.
So great topics, guys. We definitely want to hear what some of your guys' defining games, defining movies. If you appreciate art, if you have any fan art, send it our way. We're definitely curious. I'm proud of that. That made me happy when I saw it. I was like, "This is cool." But yeah, where can people find me?
They can find me the Fulio and the Fulio 365 on Instagram.
At The Last Bosses everywhere.
Find me at Cujo Prime. You can find us all at the Weekly DLC every week on Mondays. Please like, subscribe, leave us a review. Let us know what your feedback is. We always appreciate it. And until next time, we'll
DLC
you later.